So there's a new Superman film on the horizon, and so far, it's got me pretty excited. The vibes, colors, etc., it's all capturing the idea of what I look for in a Superman film. So in order to game the algorithm, celebrate its approaching release, I decided to talk about the film that got me into Superman. Superman Returns. This film holds a very special place in my heart. It was, in many ways, one of the pieces of media that got me into superheroes as a whole. Up there with the likes of the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, which ended up making Supes one of my all-time favorite heroes. That, alongside his comic, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, being my first comic. Yeah. The last comic of Silver Age Superman was my introduction to him. It was interesting. What's a Bizarro? What's a Jimmy Olsen? Who's this robot guy? What's a Mixie Spittlix? I hope that's how you say it. And why is this bald guy fusing with a metal skull? And I loved it. It all went into him becoming my hero growing up, taking first place with Spider-Man and Hulk close behind. Focusing on the film, I still love it. It was one of those films we all had as kids, the kind of film we'd pop on nearly every day randomly and just plop down for an hour or two and just watch it, never getting bored or tired of rewatching it at that. Like, the airplane scene is ingrained in my soul from all those rewatches, especially the music, especially the part where it goes dun 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 na 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 na. Then the violins and everything kicks in. It's so heroic, yet there's that desperate edge to it, and you have that lady looking out at Superman and he's trying to break the wind off, and oh man. I legit teared up during a rewatch after not seeing it in years. Scene still gets me. This also brings up what I adore about this film. First of all, being the music. John Ottman knocked it out of the park. It manages to evoke the Williams score from the Donner films, yet it's still its own thing, capturing that classic heroic trumpet and beat, yet also utilizing the ethereal feel those films used as well, especially whenever the chorus comes in. The actors are all good. Even the kid. While I may not enjoy the story and such in some aspects, I have no issue with them. Especially Brandon Routh. This guy is still my favorite Supes, capturing not just Reeves' mannerisms and body language from the previous films, but just capturing what I love about Superman. That kind and gentle nature, alongside the charm both he and Christopher Reeves brought to the role. Then you got Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor, who's genuinely kind of awesome. The presence and way he carries himself. He can genuinely be intimidating. However, this leads to the problems I have with the film. The biggest being identity. This film is clearly attempting to tie itself into the Donner films and act as a sequel of sorts to the first two. But using Lex as an example, he doesn't evoke or embody Gene Hackman's Lex. It feels off for this version of Lex to be going for such a loud and kinda dumb plan. He feels like an entirely different version of the character. It feels like he should be more like a DCAU Lex, somebody who is all calm and composed behind a desk, but yet get him alone doing supervillain stuff, and he has that anger that just scares you. To put it lightly, this film is tied down to the past, yet it doesn't truly embrace it. Look at the color palette. The Donner films were popping with color, like a comic book come to life. Then with Returns, I don't hate it, by the way. It's a great looking film. That sepia tone and modern yet 50s-like world just works for me personally. It's a great bit of art direction. However, it doesn't evoke Donner. It doesn't go all the way in embracing the films it ties itself to. The costume shows that as well. It tries to evoke the Reeves suit, yet it's too dark, the red basically looking more like brown. If you brighten it up, it's basically a modernization of the Reeves suit. Just like the film, it just doesn't embrace what made the older costume and films click with people. A film of two worlds, yet never fully embracing either. This goes for certain sequences as well. A younger Superman embracing his powers, him saving Lois from an aircraft-related disaster, and Lex utilizing a terraforming scheme again. The film pretty much acting as an upscaling to the 78 film, taking older sequences and updating them. Which works, however it feels like we're missing out on updating what a Superman fight scene could look like. I love Superman 2, but it's clear the fighting scenes weren't their strong suit. Now they have the tech to update them, yet they just don't. Which sucks because its updates to Superman saving people are amazing. The plane scene, the boat, him stopping an out of control car, and there's the entire Metropolis sequence, which is just chef's kiss. But that's this film's biggest praise and flaw. An incredible group of scenes, yet its overall story just feels lackluster. The scenes of Superman doing his thing, incredible. The scenes where we get some character work, beautiful. It has legit some of my favorite Superman scenes in general when it really wants to. Yet the film's larger story just doesn't click. The ending, while amazing with both the island lifting and Superman's near death and revival, it's not narratively satisfying. Lex just gets away. Sure, there's the karmatic justice of him being made a king of his own little island, which is what he was attempting to do with the Kryptonian tech. It just doesn't make the most fulfilling ending either. Feels like nothing has really been resolved. This also leads to Lex's plan to basically create his own supercontinent and seek the other ones and rule over the refugees. I mean, I feel like the US or other countries would declare war on him and either nuke him or send some ICBMs to pay him a visit. You got an army we haven't seen, Lex? That alien tech he's going on about? Where? There's no scene showing the crystal shooting lasers. They just grow in water. That's it. Then there's Superman, who is kind of just passive throughout the film. No real big goal or arc to work towards, which goes for a lot of characters. Everyone except for Lex is active in the plot, which can make it feel like a bit of a slog sometimes. Then there's certain aspects they overcomplicated, like giving Lois a whole family, which just... Did we really need to give this film a love triangle? That's not even including the iffy origin of Superman's son. Like, that's his son, yet Lois doesn't know, which, like, it's just weird and wasn't really needed either. Also, the concept of Superman leaving Earth and returning to a world that has moved on from him, it's an awesome concept for a Superman story, and sure, the film pays lip service to the idea of that, but it doesn't really show that. Everyone just kinda welcomes him back with open arms, and Lois herself pretty much bounces back from her anti-Superman stance pretty quickly, going from writing a whole paper about how the world doesn't need him to saying the opposite. It's not really a big conflict outside of Lois, and the story feels like it's overcomplicating itself with pretty weak drama instead of exploring the themes and ideas it presents. One of the biggest being Metallo. I know what you're thinking, Metallo? This guy. The guy who shoots a gun at Superman's eye. That's him. And he does nothing. To be honest, he could have been the perfect way to demonstrate the power of Kryptonian tech that Lex was going on about. Yet nothing. There's also this guy, this background character. He's the whole reason Superman even left. He's a disgruntled Daily Planet reporter who made the fake story of Krypton still being there, and nothing about that. He doesn't even have lines. To be honest, I feel just a few rewrites could have made a nice modernization of what the Donner films were and evolved them into what the 2000s era of superhero films are. So, here's my rewrite. Superman has left Earth and has returned, returning to a world that has very mixed opinions about him. We see how some were inspired, being more helpful and such in their communities. Then we can also see others who have moved on, seeing Supes as no longer needed or even outdated. Heck, even pull a Fatal Five and say that he isn't meant for the modern world. Lois can even confront him about this, talking about how he saves the world, but what has he really done to change it? Also, getting rid of her family here, I feel bringing it back to a simple story of her and Superman having to reignite the love and rebuild that trust between each other would make a much stronger plot. We can have an interesting speech about how it's not Superman's place to change the world, but he can inspire its people to be better. Classic stuff. Lex, instead of trying to create his own supercontinent, wanted Superman off Earth so he can build his company with no Superman keeping an eye on him, and to prove a point, Humans don't need some alien coddling them. So he gets the disgruntled reporter to make a fake paper. He hacks into multiple different news sources, which could lead to Clark seeing them and heading off, giving Lex the freedom to evolve from Hackmans to Spaceys, taking more of a DCAU Lex approach of having a silent but powerful grip on Metropolis and the many sides of it, from the legit to the underbelly. Maybe after Superman tells Lois about the paper that talked about Krypton survival, she decides to do some research about this, learning about this fake story being slotted into legit news outlets. This can lead to her and Jimmy doing some investigations, slowly uncovering a project Lex has been working on, Metallo. While this is happening, Superman has been hunting down a group of robbers who've been given some surprisingly high-tech weapons and equipment, courtesy of Luthor, so they can attack the few businesses and such not complying with his control. Superman confronts them, stopping them with their leader John Corbin, who stares Supes down and shoots his pistol right into his eye, just like in the film. However, Lex, hearing about this, chooses him to be the one for the Metallo project, a man who can stare down Superman, a god, and shoot him. Lex has been developing the Metallo project as a way to replace Superman, a real man of steel made of human engineering and a human brain, not some alien biology. Corbin would be given a life sentence where Lex could offer him the Metallo project by saying something like, "I mean, your life is already over. I can give you a better one." They shove his brain into Metallo and boom! Classic villain Supes can fight in a physical manner, while Lex in a philosophical and legal way with Jimmy and Lois, maybe slowly trying to build enough evidence to take him out while Supes takes on Metallo. While it's not a full-on script, I do feel this would be a nice way to do a similar plot while embracing the older Donner film style while evolving this into the kind of stories this universe can tell. A simple robber that Clark can take down in a few seconds, now being the same level as him, would be a nice blend of Superman 1 and 2. If you have any thoughts about this, let me know in the comments down below. But getting back to the film itself, I still love it. Because those scenes of Superman saving lives, those scenes with him telling Lois about hearing everyone who needs help, even with that scene with him talking to his son about how they'll live each other's lives, the last sons of Krypton, a father no longer alone with his son to carry his people's legacy into the future. It's genuinely heartwarming and beautiful, showing off not just Ralph's acting, but everything I love about Superman's character. It gets Superman, even if some of the story decisions don't quite work for me. A flawed but beautiful gem. I think this film is worth a rewatch if you haven't seen it in a while or if you haven't seen it before. It'll have some rough patches, but when it peaks, it's some of Superman's best. Even when it's at its worst, it's never awful. So thanks, Superman Returns, for giving me my hero. Bye, everyone.